Sure.
I kind of know when I was the strongest I've ever been in my life. And it incorporated, I got to have time to be in a surplus of calories, do programs that just continuously pounded the heavier weights. But what do you think an average or that pinnacle strength for a person is? What age group for a man would take, for example? What do they normally peak?
I think there's a lot of factors involved, because I think for us, the reason that our timeline for what you're asking is going to be different than most people is because we never had injuries. So with that being said, if you can stay away from injuries and you can train smart and you can stay away from psychological burnout and in all honesty, most importantly, stay away from external stressors, I feel that your time in which you could be your strongest is probably in the range between 28 to 44 if everything is perfect. And that's a large range. But you and I both started working out around 11, 12 years old, and we never burned out. And how did we do that? The reason is because we were driven in here to not only want to be good, but to be good for the right reasons. And anything that's external, I want to win a title, I want to do this, that starts to cause a shorter timeline with trying to find shortcuts, and there are no shortcuts. So I feel if you stay away from those pitfalls, your branch or your timeline of which you can be strong starts to get bigger and bigger. And I found that I was my strongest at 38, and I started lifting at 11 years old. So I didn't become my absolute strongest until I put 25 years of grinding in.
And I'm close to that. I was around mid-30s, a little younger than mid-30s, which is funny because it was ridiculous. At that point, I honestly thought I could wrestle a bear. Yeah. And I was doing the show Battle Dome, and after Battle Dome, I was just like, I'm ready to do whatever. And that was my strength.
Remember this. We were friends. Me and you were friends in the early mid 2000s, and I remember that time period because I was just starting to crack open the walnut. I was just getting to the point where I
come into Gold's. You came in because when I first met you, I met you at Gold's. You were with somebody. Who was that?
I was with Chris Bell.
Jeez Louise! Wow, you were with Chris. I love that.
I walked into Chris Bell, and Chris Bell goes, "Matt, I know you're super strong because I had just won a collegiate national title. I had just broke all the American records, drug free." And Chris Bell goes, "Oh, hey, I'm so glad you're here." He didn't even know I was going to be there. And I just showed up because I was on vacation and I always wanted to lift at Gold's Gym. And then he had introduced me to you, and we squatted together. And I was like, "Oh, this is my boy." I mean, we were your form was the same time.
It was love together after squats.
Oh, I mean, if you don't like somebody after a squat session, they'll never be your friend. It doesn't matter.
Well, because the way we did it, it was fun.
Yeah.
Can you do me a favor, just so these people understand? Will you give them a breakdown on your degrees?
Yeah, sure. So I have an undergraduate degree in exercise science with a minor in pre-med. And then I have a master's degree in biomechanics with a emphasis on sports nutrition and anatomy.
That's all.
And obviously, CSCS, I'm actually on the board for the Pentagon for all of the military physical wellness training that has changed. I was on the electoral board for that. I'm also on the ASCA electoral board in Australia for their strength conditioning programs for rugby and soccer. And then I've spoke at least 15 NSCA national things where you're talking, pro strength coaches from every pro team are there listening to what you're saying. So you've been doing this a long time.
Before you finish this list of accomplishments mentally, tell me about the records that you set and the ages you were doing this at.
Sure. I won my first world title at 19, being one of the first teenagers to total 2,000 drug-free. And then I went into the USAPL Collegiate Nationals where I was drug tested every 12 to 14 weeks because you know how hard the IPF testing and the USAPL WADA testing is. So I got second place the first my first collegiate nationals at 20 years old, and then was never beaten from 21, 22, and 23, and then broke every American record in the USAPL, including the collegiate national title in 2003 with an 826 squat at 270 body weight, 575 bench, and a 722 deadlift, all while getting a 4.0 in school. So,
and then what you read,
because you have my equipment in your gym, I was also welding at the hospital on the weekends because they wanted a skilled labor guy on the weekends, and obviously nobody wants to work weekends. Well, that was the only time I had available. So to pay for school, I worked Saturdays and Sundays as a welder at the local hospital and fix anything that was broke on the weekends, so they didn't have to call in skilled labor.
So I got a client that just lives on the belt squat. And I'm talking to a legend, Billy Gunn, later, because we have to get him more developed legs.
Sure.
But he's 58. He's been wrestling since 1991.
Yeah, I know him.
He's a much bigger human in person than anybody on here will understand.
Yeah.
Frame wise.
Yeah.
Because he's so proportionate on TV. I thought he was 6 foot. And then you meet him in person. I'm like, you're a freaking walking mountain.
Yeah.
But he's been banged up. Wrestling, you're gonna get banged up.
Oh,
you're gonna get banged up. So his lower back's a little tweaked. And so we're gonna figure out a workout. And one of the main things we want to keep him on is the belt squat, your belt squat.
So we're actually doing some of the same things that you're talking about. I do a lot of the online coaching, and I help out Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Tell Steve I said hi.
Yeah, I will.
He's the best. He's the best, man. Okay. All right. I need, because today was my first day ever doing, I'm very, you know this, I'm just like you in the sense of we're preventative. We're fixing things before they go bad. Go to the chiropractor, do a massage. Well, what are you working on? Why are you getting a massage? Why are you going to the chiropractor? What's wrong with your back? No. You got the wrong guy. I'm not waiting until I get injured, then do it. I'm doing it so I'm set up to win. And so today was the first time I tried something new, very advanced. I did PRP today.
Yep.
So we went down there, they pulled the blood, took out the white and red, put the platelets back in and everything. So it was a cool thing. And that got me to thinking, what does a champion as yourself, both physically and mentally, come up with 5 recovery ideas? And they could be whatever you want. They could be the basic, typical, or whatever you think. But what is 5 great options to help the body recover?